This is the sound of redemption. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shouting loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
That's right. Sit your punk Good morning, everybody. Happy. So now, do you say Friday, Vincent, or do you say Saturday Eve?
No, it's Happy Friday.
You say Happy Friday. Okay, so Happy Friday, everybody. Um, oh, I am. I'm wiped. I got no energy. I'm on my second cup of coffee, but I don't even think this is gonna help. It's like putting gas in a. It's like putting gas in a Yugo. I don't care how much gas you put in a Yugo, it ain't going. you know,
Just uttering.
well, and the name is an oxymoron, isn't it? You go, but you really aren't going. You really aren't going anywhere. But it's a you go. Um,
It's like the Chevy Nova, which is Spanish for no go.
Yo, did you listen, man? Those Chevy Novas. No, it wasn't the Nova. What was the car that was the real dangerous one? Was it the Pinto?
Pinto.
Yeah, man. Don't get rear-ended in a Pinto. Poof.
Pinto.
Huh?
We had a Pinto. It was brown.
That was
My mom
probably brown and white were the popular colors of
Look,
Pintos.
this was the time when you could take kids to the wine country, and she used to pack me and her girlfriend and all her kids, all of us in the back seat, and then we drive up to Bear Mountain to the wine factory so we could drink wine. Those were the good old times when kids could drink.
No, when the good old times were, Diane, when you could be in a car without a seatbelt. They just threw you in the back of the Woody.
I know. We was packed up in that little back seat. I was sitting on the floor on the little hump. You know, there was always
Yeah, you just rolling.
What was under that hump? Was it the brake?
Transmission.
The transmission, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I always sat on the hump because I was the littlest. And yeah, my mom almost drove off of Bear Mountain that time too. I don't know if that was before the drinking or after that.
Oh yeah, yeah. So was it 8-track or cassette?
Probably an 8-track. I don't remember.
They need to go back to 8.
We were all in the car because we were all talking and laughing and stuff. So yeah.
They need to go back to 8 tracks, man. 8 tracks taught you patience. Right? Because you couldn't
Was
rewind.
there fast forward button?
No, there wasn't. So if you
it
missed
was
your song,
reverse.
you had to listen to the song.
Yep,
And if you missed it, you had to wait till it went all the way back around again.
that's right.
But
But if you time it right, you flip it, you reverse it, wait till the exact second on that song, then reverse it again, and you start your song that you like again.
and that began the cutting and scratching that the DJs do now.
Yes. Ricky.
Yeah, flip it and reverse it. Oh wait a minute, wasn't that whose song was that? No, flip it and reverse it. That's not Mary J.
Reverse. You talking about that song?
No. There's a song.
Are you talking about slap it up, flip it, rub it down?
No, it's flip it and reverse it. Is it Mary J? I think it's Mary J. Blige has a song out, and in the lyrics in it is something about flip it and reverse it. And then there's some some other lyrics that I can't make out. Hey Vincent, I saw you holding. Was that a puppy that you had?
Oh, no, that is Michael Kors, the Pomeranian. Michael Kors was my wife's Christmas present, 2010.
Okay.
Let's see, we had Lucy, who was a boxer bull.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife gave me this elaborate story of how she missed Lucy being a puppy, and she used to put Lucy in her pocketbook and take her everywhere with her, and she missed it so much. So, me thinking like a dumb guy, I'm thinking she wants one of those little dogs that she puts in her purse,
Mm-hmm.
which Pomeranians are great for. Okay, so, I get the dog. We're over at my mother's house Christmas Eve. I had the dog in a little cute dog bag, purse-looking designer, and sat it right by my wife and had it nicely in a gift bag, and the bag started moving. It scared her. And then, all of a sudden, this little cute little head came out, it was Michael Kors. and my wife just went livid, cussing me out. What in the possess you to get me another dog? I didn't want a dog. I said, but you talked about having a little dog in a pocket. I didn't want a little dog. I wanted a Michael Kors bag. Don't you ever listen to a... So she named the dog Michael Kors.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, the dog is cheaper than a Michael Kors bag, right?
The dog was much cheaper than a Michael Kors
There you
bag.
go. So for all you gentlemen out there who wives or girlfriends want a Michael Kors bag, get them a dog, name it Michael Kors, and tell them to put it in their current bag. Yeah.
Well, her birthday came up soon after, and she got a Michael Kors bag from me.
Yeah. So then you wind up with a Michael Kors in a bag.
Yes, that's what she did.
See, you got Michael Kors in a bag. And if you say it fast enough, you can confuse people and make them think you have a Michael Kors bag. Anyway, that's what I would do. We got some stuff that's going on, right? 3,000 deaths. In the pre-show, I was telling you that I was on the phone with my younger brother this morning, and he was telling it's this ongoing discussion that he and I are having, because he wants me to be about the business of beating down Donald Trump, as opposed to me having a real clear understanding around how everything is working, right? And so, it frustrates him that I have not, taken a big gulp of the Kool-Aid that has been dished out by corporate media. And so he thinks that I'm a Trump lover, and I couldn't be further from the truth. I despise them all equally, right? So, but that translates to him as me being a Trump lover, because I don't hate him more than the Democratic Party and other people, other Republicans. I hate him equally. But in the middle of what's happening right now, certainly it is tragic. And I think I told you that, he was asking me, do I believe the sky is falling, that the world is coming to an end because of this pandemic? And I said, of course not. As tragic as it is, there is light at the end of the tunnel, right? If we do the things that we're supposed to do, right? Keep social distancing, wear your mask, wash your hands, use sanitizer. So there are things that we can do. We have the power to change the course of this thing. See, when the sky is falling, that means that you are powerless, that things are just happening outside of your control. I tried to reiterate that to him this morning, and he's just so enveloped, I think, at this point in, what's coming from, the liberal media, that he just can't see, how this is the fault of everybody. Though Donald Trump in the beginning hid what he hid, he didn't share information, he downplayed it, he did all of that stuff. But right now, there are individuals who are responsible for the continued spread of COVID-19.
Okay. Well, I think that you are really underestimating the intellectual prowess of your brother by saying that his opinions is dominated and controlled solely on media. And I mean, media does have a level of influence, but he seems like comes from that stock where he can take into account his own reactions, feelings, and opinions based upon multiple inputs of information. So,
no, not when you hear because you can tell when somebody's listening to you can tell what they're listening to by how they talk to you, right? So when you hear the regurgitation of talking points, then you know, okay, I know where you got that, right? When the person's cadence sounds like Rachel Maddow, you know that they're listening to Rachel Maddow, right? You understand? So when the bias is so evident, right, you kind of know where that's coming from. So no, I'm dialed in. Yep.
Here's what they've been saying about media and Trump. Trump started his campaign off of negative media, getting that attention. What happened was that his actions and acts have been done. He has been the same person. He has been getting the same media press from it in his first presidential run, and he has developed a cult following based upon his actions. Now that the re-election is coming on, people have started to get tired, weary, and exhausted of Trump and his train wrecks.
No. I'm not disputing that. But what I am saying to you is this: if 24 hours a day, the media decides to put this in front of you, so no matter what channel you turn to, it was even in sitcoms, it was on Saturday Night Live, you couldn't even find relief there. Right? So the media created this atmosphere where there was no escape.
I don't think the media created the atmosphere of Trump. The media just basically reported all of Trump's antics.
Well, that's the same difference, right? So we're
5
splitting
years of Trumpism.
No, but right. So this is semantics, right?
Maybe we're splitting hairs.
Right, because Trump did what he did. The media didn't have to always report it. In fact, at some point, right, during the election, the media determined that they weren't going to report certain kinds of things. They turned it off. They turned off some of his press conferences, right? So they had the power to do that all along. They just chose not to because they wanted to create this anxiety. And then they wanted to drive a message home that said, you got to stop it. Don't you want relief from it? Isn't this too much for you? But they kept it's like the person who's shoving it down your throat and then asking you, is this too much? Don't you want relief? So they were shoving it down people's throats every single second of every single day. And then saying, aren't you tired of this? And then they were saying, that's him. And it wasn't. It was them. It was them. And they had the ability anytime they wanted to, not to report certain kinds of things. And they reported them anyway.
Well, I think you have to be honest. They didn't just report. They became opinionated. And that's what
they became obsessed.
Because they were no longer the 11 o'clock news where you got the information and they went on to the next story, the next story, and next story. They were commentating and giving their opinion about what was happening, and that was driving the feelings of what people were feeling.
Anxiety.
And that was where the problem was.
And not only the opinion, but also came the point of exhaustion. Trump created a few things, birtherism and media-driven, because with the birtherism became another Trump thing called fact checkers. They have spent more money in hiring fact checkers just to give validation or discredit whatever Trump has said than any period of any president.
I'm not suggesting they didn't do that. But what I am saying is this. They made that decision to do it. Right? They decided to put the pedal to the metal during this election.
I think they put the pedal to their actual media buyers and sponsors because, when you said Trump, everybody radar.
No doubt.
Antennas shot up.
No doubt.
And they wanted to see what was going on next.
I'm not disputing any of that. But what I am saying, all I'm saying is this. Trump did what he did. The media poured gasoline and kerosene on it and made it an inferno, intolerable by a certain group of people, such that they wanted to run out of the burning building, right? And so as these arsonists that we call the liberal media set it on fire, they literally were the ones screaming, fire, right? Run. And then people were running. And so when my brother talks about the fire. What is it? Do you see the fire? Do you see sky falling? Do you see the? I'm saying to see you because you have blinders on. You have such tunnel vision because all you're paying attention to is what they're showing you. If you would broaden your perspective and look at these other things, like I went today and let's see if I can pull up what because he was asking me if the sky was falling. And I gave him this piece of information. Oh, where is it? I was giving him information about the flu. I'm not going to go search it, but since 2010, I think these numbers are what I'm going to tell you pretty accurate. They said between but somewhere around 61,000 people a year have died from the flu since 2010. They said like 45 million people get sick every year from the flu, right? So they've given all these numbers, and I said to him, I said, so was the sky falling in 2010? Right? Is the sky falling now? During the AIDS epidemic, was the sky falling? I said, certainly, we had this disease and people were trying to get a handle on it. But there were, again, certain things that you could do, right? And not doing the things that you could do contributed to it, right? So during the AIDS epidemic, not practicing safe sex, right? Using dirty needles, all these other kinds of things. So there were things, and even though Donald Trump did what he did, there are things that we can do. And I kept trying to explain to him, the sky is falling when you are no longer in control of managing whatever the circumstances are. And we're not at that place. So as tragic as it is, we could put an end to it.
What you were saying, the CDC estimated last year, between 2018 and 2019, that 35 million illnesses because of the flu.
Right.
16.5 million medical visits because of the flu.
Right.
490,600 hospitalizations because of the flu.
Right.
34,200 deaths during 2018 and 2019.
Now stop. Now stop for a second. So let's remove COVID right now for just 1 minute. So with those numbers, we were just living life every year, right? So this has been going on since 2010. Those kinds of numbers. Who's been freaking out? Who's been saying, "Oh my," I'm sorry?
Everyone. Remember, we had the N1H1 vaccine because that flu strand became so strong that they.
No. Hear what I'm saying to you. In 26, I'm asking you a question. In 2015.
Exactly. People were going around with their little micro hand sanitizers.
Right.
And
in what year was that? In 2010, right? 2011. Right. I'm saying in 2014, who was talking about it? It had normalized.
Nobody.
Right.
Because,
in 2015, who was talking about it?
H1 flu had a vaccine.
No. I'm not saying it didn't. Wait, listen to me, Vincent. Stay with me.
Outbreak happened, Americans didn't care about that. The last big thing that Americans really paid attention, and they didn't even pay attention to Ebola because it wasn't here. The last thing that people worldwide cared about was AIDS. That was it. And you have to tell the truth. They didn't care about that stuff. They said those are other people having to think. Well, people are running around even if they knew. They didn't know.
Okay, well, let's look at the N1H1. America cared about it so much that Obama designed the reaction team for the CDC. Can I please?
Not people's daily conversations. It was not on the news like this. You can't even say it's true.
It was on the news. In fact, it was on the news that when they came up with the vaccine, that they made all the anti-vacciners were going crazy, and Obama had to express to them and take a shot and express to them that, yes, I'm giving this to my children. This is how safe the vaccine is. And because of that, and putting that reaction team together, he had the reaction team in place that went to Africa to find a cure for Ebola.
Not one person in the United States was in an uproar about SARS. They were not.
Well, they weren't in an uproar about SARS, but they were in the uproar about the N1H1. They were in the uproar when that scientist came back to the United States and he had Ebola.
No,
Yes.
So let me ask you a question, Vincent. So I think this is what Diane is saying.
It didn't get to a fever. It didn't get to this fever pitch as we have with COVID because the Obama administration had crushed it.
I don't know who crushed it or did what, but people were not concerned about catching it, not going out, not interacting with their family, or doing anything. That was not happening. So you can't tell me the level of where we are now is equal to anything else.
No, and that's not what I'm saying, Diane. What I'm saying is that we didn't reach this level with N1H1 or Ebola because our leadership took care of it.
So wait a minute, but I'm asking you the same question. So in 2011, what were the deaths? Right? Because I'm telling you what the average is. They're saying somewhere between. And they gave a large range. They said between 9,000 and 61,000 deaths every year since 2010. So I'm saying, beyond the initial outbreak, we've had, like they said, on average, 45 million.
2011, there were 37,000 flu-related deaths.
Right. 32,000 flu-related deaths in 2011. Who was talking? 37,000 in 2011.
Yes.
Who was talking about it? What was it in 2012? What was it in 2013? What was it in 2000? People weren't running around saying the sky is falling. My only point to you is this. There have been deaths. People are dying from all kinds of things. As tragic as this is, and it is tragic, the sky is not falling. All I'm saying.
You have to look at the simple fact of this. It was a reduction from 2011 to 2019 of flu deaths by 3,000 people. Why? The vaccine for the N1H1.
Right, and now there's a vaccine, and now there's a vaccine, and now less than a year later, or about a year from November, right? And so now we're in December. So a year and 1 month later, there's a vaccine. That's what I'm saying. So now there's a vaccine. And so there will be, going into 2021, there will be a reduction.
Correct.
So the sky is not falling.
No.
And if people stop going to super spreaders, right? If people wore their masks, washed their hands, sanitized, kept social distancing, if they did that, right, we'd have fewer deaths, because of their actions. But we have more deaths because of the reckless actions. Right? So, but the sky's not falling is my only point.
Well, let's look at the flu epidemic and how they crushed it and the results of the 37,000 when the flu was at its peak, and compare it to COVID. In the United States, we have, and this is the Johns Hopkins study as of, it just posted an hour ago, we have 15,619,035 cases. We have, because of COVID, 292,169 deaths.
Okay.
And we're talking about almost a year that he knew about it. We're talking about that amount. That was the big difference in leadership that everybody was saying.
So we're talking about a year that he knew about it, but we're talking about, say, from March to now that we knew about it.
Correct.
Right. And so again, give him his blame from when he knew about it. And now from the point that we knew about it, up until now,
give us our blame.
Give us our blame.
We know about it, and we're still spreading it.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And so when I have the conversation with my brother about the sky not falling, right? again, to me, the sky is falling when when you're out of control, right? When or when the situation is out of control. But we have the ability to control the situation, right? We literally, by our actions alone, can change the course of this thing. So the sky's not falling. We're just reckless as all get out.
Exactly.
Here we go.
And in terms of the recklessness, it's the equivalent of, me knowing that Diane's mad at me. She just purchased a gun, and she's waiting for me to come to East Orange. The last thing I'm going to do is drive my black behind down East Orange.
Now wait a minute. Why are you gonna put East Orange in see,
See, now you're gonna look. We're not gonna argue over the choice of cities that
why?
I had,
Well, why
but
couldn't
we-
why
we
couldn't
are-
she
but
be?
we
Why
are-
couldn't
but
you
then-
be
but
driving a
see,
Voorhees?
you're gonna split
But,
here. And
no,
that's
but
the
why?
actual point.
No, but
Eric, is they project what they're thinking. On
but
other
why
people.
couldn't she be
And I
why
don't
couldn't she
think
be in
people know
Voorhees
that.
with a gun? Why couldn't she?
Okay. Okay, well, let me make this politically correct for all of those here. This is the equivalent of my of somebody who does not like me having a gun
An
and
Alpine.
waiting for me to come off the elevator. The last thing that I'm going to do is get on that elevator. We know that COVID kills people. We know where it's at and how to protect ourselves. But people are not protecting themselves.
So what I would say right now is, based on the fact that you always say that you're working on your PhD for ministry, I'm always skeptical of what you're really doing, because the words and the choices that you use that come out your mouth contradict that.
Well,
All the time.
I don't.
Not
I don't
only
think
your
that-
words, but your behavior.
I don't think that it contradicts anything.
I know you
of what
don't.
No.
You don't think it-
I don't think it contradicts anything that I'm actually studying. What my words and my behavior actually shows you is that I'm comfortable in being my true, authentic self.
Maybe theology is not for you. Because
Mhm.
theology is based on caring, for using words that are receptive and are not strict and restrained or harsh. Let's say. Let's
Sometimes
say that maybe theology is not for you.
Yeah. Well, let's say that your belief that theology is not for me, but for some people it seems to be very effective. And we can get into a situation. We can get into a situation where we are talking to people in such a watered down.
That means
No.
you're code switching if other people believe that it's fact. Because based on all the conversations since you've been on this show from day one, does not reflect the person that's going to school for their PhD in theology.
Well, based on all the conversations that I've been having on this show, a great deal of it does. But based on your opinion of it, it doesn't. And you know what? I do respect your opinion of it. And I respect the fact that you can have that. But I can also respect the fact of who I am. And if me being my true, authentic self offends you, then it should.
So I want to.
I just see a fraud when I see a fraud. That's all.
So
Well, there are other adjectives that I can do to account for some of your behavior. Yet I do not display that.
That's
I don't know how we took that left turn.
I don't know either. I think she got mad because I said Diane with a gun.
No, I didn't get mad at anything. What I'm reflecting off is the words that you use and what you pretend to say you're studying. That's what I'm reflecting on. Because it's every day. It's every day. Because I can't understand how any minister or any person, a congregation would want to follow somebody who speaks in the way that you speak all the time. And it's
Well, obviously you're not hanging around as many ministers, because I can tell you stories about people who have large congregations yet say some things that make me cringe.
Oh, I can tell you about a bunch of those too, and not only say things. I can tell you about a bunch of ministers who do some things that make you cringe. I can tell you about some ministers who do some things that make them go to jail.
I show up on divorce court.
Yeah, I can tell you about a whole bunch of ministers. I just want people to have a sense of what's really going on here, right? That even as they watch it now, like I've started to get back into watching the news, and already, if you listen to Fox News, I would just tell you turn on for a day or two. They're already priming their people for the midterm elections, right? They're already doing that. They're already setting the stage, creating these absolutes that they know that the Democrats who won their seats can't fill, right? And so they're trying to box them into a corner now. They're trying to create messaging now, and then they want to try to drive that. It's the same way that the liberal media did regarding Russia and such, and then just kept pushing that. That's now happening on Fox News, and I gotta tell you, it is counterproductive, but effective. Right? It's counterproductive, but it's effective.
Let's look at 2 days of the Hunter Biden probe. That's been going crazy on Fox News. Let's look at the QAnon.
Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something about the Hunter Biden thing, right? Because, I'm going to use the quote from that Denzel Washington movie. It's not what you know, it's what you can prove, right? I know, just because I know. And they say, how do you know? It's just like you just know that Hunter Biden, there's no way you get a job like that, making that kind of money without having a dime's worth of experience in that industry, unless your father is the vice president of the United States of America. Facts! Come on. We don't need to go beyond that. So there was influence that led him to get that job. His father's influence. Now, what happened beyond that? But if you lie, but my thing is this: if you lie about that, come on, Hunter. Say my dad was vice president. We made a phone call, and I got a job because my father was vice president. Biden, say my son got the job because I was vice president. But when you lie about that, now I got to call you a liar. And you could be lying about any other aspect of that.
Well, I agree on the lying aspect of it. But let's look at it. And let's keep this real. In terms of influence and power and helping, the one thing that I'm going to do is everything in my power to help better the quality of life for my children. Whether I'm president, vice president, dog catcher, if I have influence to get them a job, yes, I'm going to do it. And there are not too many men who won't say the same thing. So, yeah, saying that my dad had nothing to do with it, that's a lie. We all know that. Because even if they did not mention your dad directly, in the back of their mind in hiring you, they're saying that, you know what, that his dad could have a level of influence that we can prosper from. And that part is true as well. So I agree with you on that. That part I know. But the other aspect of it is that raises my antenna is the timing on it. Hunter Biden has been the targeted attack of the Trump administration for a long time. And all of a sudden, now, there was this laptop that showed up that they had the hard drive from, birtherism part 2, 3.4, and investigating that, they found nothing. Now, all of a sudden, he's sending people in to investigate his taxes, birtherism 2.4.
Well, but you know what it is, though? But you know why they're doing it? Come on, I mean, again, look.
But the timing of it makes it suspicious.
Well, right. So, sure. Well, we don't even have to say it's suspicious. We know why they're doing it, right? So they're vendettas in politics. Let's just talk frankly about it. But what do they say, Vincent? Where there's smoke, there's what? Fire. Right. And so what we do know is that Hunter lied, and we do know that Biden lied. Now, we don't know how far down the road they're lying. And so because they lied about this one thing, now you have the bloodhounds on the trail to go, okay, so they're liars. So let's see if they lied about this. Let's see if they lied about that. Let's see if they lied about this thing. So they created this situation by lying. Say,
Well-
hey, exactly what you just said, Vincent. You know what?
Yeah.
Yep, I got my son a job. I was the goddamn vice president of the United States. I want to see my children do better. I did nothing wrong. You know, he was able to leverage the fact that I'm the vice president and was able to land a great job. God bless him.
Correct.
Say that.
God bless
But
you.
once you didn't
Networking
say,
in America's finest,
right, but once you didn't say
One
that,
lie makes you a liar. That's it.
right, but once you didn't say that, once you denied it,
True.
you lied.
True. There is no debate about the simple fact that he lied.
Right.
There is nothing, because anytime you go to court, if you tell one lie, the judge will not believe a single
And then-
word
and then
that
so
has come
here's
out of
what
your
you-
mouth since he proved you to be a liar.
Right, and
So
what?
if there's no question about him lying, there should be no reason or question as to why they're going to keep looking for more stuff that he lied about.
Well,
Right.
here is the thing. Here's another aspect that I like to present.
So I want to ask you a question before you present this.
Eric, you
Wait a minute,
absolutely-
wait. But before you present this, I want to ask you this one question.
Yes.
Since we all agree that he lied about that thing, do you believe that there's a possibility he lied about some other stuff?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There we go, and that's why they're looking. That's exactly why they're looking.
But here is now. Can I interject now?
Sure, you can.
You are absolutely right. We know that where there is smoke, there's fire.
Mm-hmm.
However, what we've known with Trump, where there is quote unquote smoke, there is mirrors. That it looks like smoke, but it hasn't been. We looked at that with birtherism. We looked at that with them wanting the Attorney General to arrest Biden and Obama. We looked at that when they talked about finding Hunter's laptop. We looked at that when he talked about, there's a Russian mayor that gave him millions of dollars. We looked at that in everything, and we've been chasing our tails to find nothing. That's what makes everybody so exhausted with it. We looked at every time Trump says, look over there, there's a fire and there's nothing. We looked at that with every freaking state now that he's taking on, because he said there was massive malfeasance with the election process.
Right, but wait a
And
minute.
they
But
stole it
wait,
from me.
but give me a
And
second.
there's nothing.
But give me a second. So you moved on to the election piece. So right, we were on the Biden on the Hunter thing, but you moved to the election. But let's stay there for a second. Vincent, let me ask you a question. In South Jersey, are local politics corrupt? Just simple yes or no. Just simple yes or no.
What I think or what I know?
No. Do you know for a fact that local politicians in South Jersey have gone to jail for corrupt politics?
Yes.
Okay, right. We know for a fact that here in Essex County and all over New Jersey, politicians have gone to jail for corrupt politics. So now, where there's smoke, there's fire. And so what we do know is that politics is a dirty, corrupt game. We know that. Because
I
we've
know
seen.
it
Wait a
firsthand.
minute.
Remember?
Wait. But I don't want to get into your anecdotal thing right now. I'm saying to you this. We all know that politics is dirty. So Trump knows it's dirty too. So he says, hey, look, I know it's dirty. I don't know for a fact what they've done, but because I know politics are dirty, there's a likelihood that they may have done something. So let's cast this broad net and see if we find anything. But if politics weren't dirty in the first place, there would be nothing to search for. So because he knows there's usually smoke, he's looking for the fire. There may not be one, but he's barking up a tree, right, where there has been some stuff before.
Well, what we know about Trump is this. Is this. He knows, and he's the master of the simple fact of saying that he has enough people where every time he says something, they start rallying behind it. And that's what he's counting on. That's what he has always counted on. So every time, especially when he says the word Obama, that just sets a lot of white, angry, mad at the black man being successful in motion. And they will do just about anything to stop that.
But wait a minute, but let's be clear. Let us be clear, right? That, yep, you have that segment of people, but you also have some black people. You also have some Asians. You also have some Indians. You also have an array of other people who just are tired of the bullshit, right?
Correct.
And so Donald Trump,
Correct.
like him or not, is saying this is all bullshit. And those people going, yep, it is. Now, they may not be so much for Donald Trump as they are for calling out the bullshit. And we're going to get into that in a little bit when we talk about how the swamp is now being replenished, right, with people from the Obama era. Right?
Well, I wouldn't say that these people are actually alligators in the actual swamp. But if we're going back to nepotism, Will Halfway and a couple other people in the thread were perfectly right when they said, well, let's talk at nepotism, where people who don't have any type of political experience or government experience now running the company.
No doubt. No doubt.
Donald Trump's son-in-law, his daughter.
You know what? You're right. You're right. But this is my point to you. So Donald Trump does it. He's doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying Biden did it. He's saying other people did it. So everybody's doing it. So when I listen to the fact that Hunter Biden, again, had this extraordinary job with no experience and blah, 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 and he goes, well, I got that on my own. I'm going bullshit.
Bullshit.
Right.
We all know that.
Right.
Okay.
And so,
Right.
yes.
So we're okay with that.
Right. And so, yes, when Donald Trump got in, because we can't forget this either. He was a donor to all of these people. He hung around with them all, so he knew what was going on.
Right.
So as soon as he got in there, he said, I'm going to play the game the same way you all play the game, right? I'm going to put...
No. Donald Trump is not playing the same game. See,
No.
Donald Trump has put the game on steroids.
Right. Well, yes, I'll grant you that. But in the what I mean by that is this. He said, I'm going to take my kids and I'm going to let them benefit. Now, the degree to which he wanted his kids to benefit, yes, on steroids, right?
Correct.
So, but the idea of saying, as president, I'm going to influence things. Now, what we were used to, see, this is what we gotta see. We're used to being plugged into the matrix, Vincent. Where we're used to politicians who do it. Who do these kinds of things in the darkness of night, right? Or they act with a little more diplomacy when they do it. Donald Trump said, I'm just going to do it. I got a hotel. I'm going to have the people stay in my hotel, right? I got my son-in-law. I'm going to put him over here. I got my daughter. I'm going to put her over here. I got my 2 sons. I'm going to put them here. People are like, oh, my God. But everybody does it. They just do it more subtly. Donald Trump just said...
They do it in your face. Everybody else is subtle.
No, that's what I said to you.
Yeah,
Everybody else does it more subtly. Donald Trump said, I'm just going to do it. And then we got offended by the manner in which he did it. Not so much that he did it, but the manner in which he said, this guy's got too much balls to do. Can you believe he's doing it? But they all do it.
But here's the thing with everybody else and Donald Trump. Everybody else did it, and they did it subtly. They did it behind closed doors. They did those little backdoor deals. Donald Trump did it in your face. People called him out for doing it in your face, and then he said, no, I didn't do it. That's the BS that everybody is tired of.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
I didn't do it. See, Obama did it. I just did this. Or, it was the Chinese who did it. I was just here. It was always somebody else with him. That's the BS that everybody was tired of, or part of it.
Yeah. So, look.
I mean, as my grandfather said, how many times is somebody going to pee on your head to tell you that it's raining?
They're all peeing on our heads and telling us it's raining out. That's my point. So listen. Some of them are.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is another theologian incorrect term, or.
That's okay, but I got you right. So some of them are soaking us with pee, and some of us are just getting us a little wet. But we all. So listen. I'm offended.
Calling up my school and asking them to dispel.
But listen, I'm offended by any amount of pee. See, that's where I am. I don't want any of it. There are some people who are just offended by how much Donald Trump is peeing on them. Right?
It's not the quality, it's the quantity.
It's the quantity. It's like being waterboarded. were like, this. Now this is just ridiculous. This is just too much.
The new swamp.
Oh God, yes, the new swamp. Diane, what were the numbers you gave?
Obama 3.0 is what they're calling
So
it.
Diane, what are those numbers? How many appointees and how many of them are from the Obama administration? Is she there?
Hello.
She had the statistic. I think she said 9 out of 12.
Yes. Yes, you
Right.
did.
9 out of 12 of Biden's appointments are former Obama people. Now, the first thing I look at, because we were talking a year ago, 2 years out from the election, that moderation isn't going to get it done for black people. Right?
Okay.
Right?
Right.
That we need radical change. Radical. We need to blow it up. Right?
Right.
Aren't we just kicking the can now?
No, and here is the diversity of the Biden's picks. There is some radical change because he has now appointed 2 more people of color, Susan Rice and Mrs. Fudge, I believe. Susan Rice will be handling domestic affairs, which she was very instrumental in the Obama administration. I think Representative Fudge will be handling HUD. So that is 2 more African Americans to the group. That's a radical change.
Well, wait a minute. Who was handling HUD? Wait a minute. Who was handling HUD under Trump?
Oh, it would be the smartest child neurosurgeon in our generation.
Wait, so we had a black. Wait a minute.
Dr. Carson?
The only point I'm making is we had a black person in charge of HUD then, right? So just having a black person there isn't enough for me.
But considering Dr. Carson a black person, you now go into a whole new rabbit hole.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily, right? Because Ayanna Presley said no black faces without black voices. So there have been a lot of black
He's a
people.
black face, but not a black voice.
Right. You just shrunk.
Anytime he stand behind Trump in the midst of a COVID press conference and let Trump say all this crazy stuff that he know not to be true, no, he's not a black voice.
Did you just reposition yourself in your camera? You look like you just shrunk.
Oh.
There you go. Like, dude, you look like you were a munchkin. I'm like, what's going on?
Oh, the yellow brick, bro.
There you are, dude.
No. Elf.
Yes, I was gonna talk about the hat, but
Well, I was doing story time with my wife, her second graders. So today was Christmas hat day. So she's wearing hers, I was wearing mine, and I was telling them the manger story and the 3 wise men.
Did you tell them about Uncle Eric going to beat up white Santa Clauses on lawns?
That is the image I want burning in a group of second graders' minds. Yes.
Right.
No, we weren't talking about Santa Claus, the benevolent white man who's supposed to be coming into the hood and giving kids everything they want. No, we were talking about the Magi's.
I'm not sure whether this is a caller. Hello, caller?
Hey, good morning, Eric. What's up, man? What's up, Vincent? How you doing, man?
Big Will, what up?
What up, my brother? Listen, man, you might have beaten a white Santa Claus down right next door to me because the white Santa Claus is down, man.
No, it was Eric. Somebody's got him. He's on you.
Wait a minute. Down goes Santa Claus. Down goes Santa Claus.
24 hours, man. Watching you live in South Orange, man, with the market. That was good, man. That was good looking out, man.
You went? Did you go?
I was checking your market event in South Orange yesterday. The video.
Oh, they do a view. Listen.
Just came through the area and knocked the Santa Claus down, man.
Listen. I was nowhere.
Try to make it next week.
You could check the cameras. I was nowhere around that Santa Claus. I didn't lay a.
Broadcasting their ring camera.
I didn't lay a hand.
With an ADOS shirt on.
I,
I check the camera.
There's an APB out for a man in an ADOS hat and sweatshirt.
So, fellas, good morning.
Good morning, man.
Well, you guys been talking about the Biden choices, okay? Due to the fact that, they might have experience in their last administration, the key is the experience, you know what I mean? How they was choice because maybe Obama had some type of influence in it. We really don't know. We just have to understand that. Are they experienced? Do they know the job duties? And how effective they are? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Right, but see here's where I am. Here's where I am with this, right? And I agree with all of that, Vince. Will.
I agree with you.
That we want people with experience and want these things, but we cannot be naive, right? Don't you believe? Unlike Fish Fry Clyburn, who lied in saying that he didn't ask for anything, we know he did, right? Don't you believe that Obama, before he rolled up his sleeves and went out there for Biden, don't you believe that he had a checklist of things that he wanted to have certain influence over this administration?
I totally agree with
Right.
that.
Okay. So right.
Here's a huge
backbone deal.
Right. So let us not be naive about it, right? So when these appointments are not just happening because these people are qualified, these appointments are happening for political payback, right? For an endorsement. So come on, stop it. So now,
Matter of fact, Vincent, I agree with Eric 100% because it's all political backdoors. You know what I mean? Everybody makes the deals in the back room. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It has to go over the country.
I agree.
I wouldn't be surprised that the governors, I believe the election in Georgia, I believe they're probably making backroom deals now.
Yes, I can see a Republican governor making a deal with a Democratic presidential candidate to taint the election so that the Republican president can lose. I don't think that
the election is over.
It's over, but we're going into the Donald Trump conspiracy, which again they have found nothing. He was asked before the Supreme Court to bring your evidence, and he brought nothing. So the Supreme Court said it in one word: denied.
right? But here's where I am, right? I like Will said, it's over, right? And so,
Yes.
but see, this is
But
this.
let's move it forward.
But this no, but we're not moving. But this is the point. We're not moving forward. That's the whole point.
Next year's elections,
Let's move it forward.
But wait a minute,
Next year's election.
huh?
The next
Well,
year's
actually,
election.
there's the election in January is the Georgia runoff.
Yeah,
Is
so
it-
that's going to affect the whole entire country also. You know
Of
what I mean?
course.
As far as moving the Senate, the way Biden wants to move it, you know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing, and learning from the Obama administration, where Obama's first term, he had the House and the Senate. By midterms, he lost the Senate. So, and then that put Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell in the position that they are in right now. They have fought Obama in every step of the way. So, for Biden to move this country forward, to get some things in place, to keep his promises that he has made to America, as well as Black America, if you want to separate it, he has to have Senate approval. It is important. Now, with this next election coming up, that will make it 50-50. And the deciding vote for this policy to go through will be that of Kamala Harris.
Right.
So, if we're looking at the opportunity of moving America forward, getting America out of this hole, building America's economy back, increasing our performance in education, getting funding to our states, and helping a lot of people get the money that they need. Because, by the way, people are in such a desperate situation right now. Shoplifting is on a new high. In fact, it's higher than what it was last year. But the number one product that they're stealing is not toys or PlayStations. They're stealing food because people are truly hungry.
Yep.
That has to change.
And part of this stimulus package, I went online. I've been observing the stimulus plan that the Congress is proposing, or Republican or Democrat. And this stimulus package, they're not proposing any $1,200 check in this type of movement now. You know what I mean? I believe there's money for housing, there's money for a SNAP program. You know, looking at 15%. I think we need to move it forward into getting another payment to the American people, because right now everyone is hurt. You know what I mean? Everyone is hurt.
Exactly.
It's sad. I mean, it really is. Now, see, ours, like for instance, our Orange Democratic Committee always hosts a toy and coat giveaway. Okay. And we're going to be holding it, okay? Social distance is going to be required into grab and go, okay? But the toy distribution throughout this area is you can't get none. You know what I mean? It's nothing. It's nothing like another Christmas. But this administration that's coming in, I mean, they have to get a deal struck for the stimulus package. You know what I mean? Americans are hurting. New Jersey just extended their unemployment yesterday to 26 more weeks. How much more could we fund the unemployment system in New Jersey going forward, or these food programs? You know, how far can we go out?
Right, but here's the interesting thing about this. And I want to know what all of the people who are now engaged in standing in these lines, looking for these stimulus packages, benefiting from the extended unemployment, and all of the other stuff, right? When we were having these conversations about what government's role is to be the bridge, when we were talking about democratic socialism, and people were saying we're not a socialist country, we're not a communist, and they were getting that all confused. Here we are now, where Americans are hurting, and you're saying, well, government's got to step in and intervene, right?
Somebody has to.
No, well, you know, I agree. Well, I agree, but I've always agreed that government has a role, and that we're not talking socialism. We're talking about the same way our government intervenes when big businesses are failing, right? They step in to save them. Our government has that same level of responsibility for the people, but because the people are not organized like corporations are, right? To be able to punish politicians, politicians don't respond to the people the way they do corporations. Call or go.
So let's be fair, right? Because 2 days ago, Trump did say that he wanted the $1,200 stimulus to go out. He did. And the Democrats are actually holding that up still, as I said before, because they don't want Trump's name on the check. So that makes Joe Biden consistent in that, right? So Joe Biden wants to push this off until he is the president, and then he will release the stimulus check, and it will have his name on it, and the big bad wolf Trump guy is bad. But meanwhile, between today and January, look at all the people we will lose, all the families who will starve, all the homes that will be lost because you don't want one guy's name on a check.
Facts.
This is not the Republican Party stopping us from getting a stimulus. They're willing now. Even Even Moscow Mitch is willing now. But that's the Democratic Party, and we have to recognize that, take onus of that, and understand that lets us know in advance that they really don't care about the American people. They're still playing politics, and people are dying in this country. That is not a Trump. That is not a Republican. That is a Democratic initiative to just keep his name off of a check. Do you know how many people are going to go hungry between December 11th and Inauguration Day? Just wanted to throw that in there.
There you go. You know, it makes me
Let's
think.
look at it. I cannot believe that Joe Biden, as caring and compassionate as he is, as much as he has expressed empathy for people, common people, or people of lower class and backgrounds, because he's always reminded of his Scranton roots and how devastated his family was when his father lost his job. I cannot see this man wanting to hold up the stimulus check or packages so that it would not have Trump's name on it.
I totally agree with you, Vincent, due to the fact that, New Jersey jobless claims spiked as 500K set to lose benefits. State has paid out more than $19 billion since March. So New Jersey has paid $19 billion since March for unemployment for jobless people that are not working. And I do agree with Jody. The politics of this should not be played because somebody doesn't want their name on a check. It's all about the people. It should be all about everyone, as far as people losing their homes, people jobless, people standing hours of food pantry. That's what's happening. You know what I mean? How could this effect go from now until January 20th? I don't see it. I don't see it happening. So, and all I'm saying to you is when Mnuchin finally went over and talked to Nancy Pelosi, he was talking on behalf of the President of the United States. And he said he will do the stimulus check. They're pushing back. I read it the other day on print, and yeah, I did see it on the news where they talked about that the stimulus check, what Trump is asking for is that stimulus check has his name on it. So you have to wonder why someone would care about his name being on a check. And honestly, I love your passion, Vincent, but when Joe Biden gets on television and talks about his daddy and Scranton, you do know that's just messaging, right? You really do know that Joe Biden don't care about us, right?
No, I do not know that. No.
Yeah, right? He wouldn't have ran for president if he didn't care.
I do not know that, nor do I want to believe that, Jody.
Oh, now that statement is true. You don't want to believe it. I got that, right?
Okay. Well, great. As long as we're all in agreement on something.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I do believe, and in fact, I haven't found any signs that would go against the simple fact of Joe doing this for his own good or benefit or press. In fact, the big issue right now is that they revisit the 1.9 trillion that Trump was offering, and they were talking about that. And Mitch McConnell shot it down and said, "No, I'll give you 900 million." And so they've been back and forth about that. Now, it's after the election. Trump could give a flying leap about getting stimulus money out there. Mitch McConnell was trying to hold on to whatever power he has until the results of Georgia. And in between all of that political fighting or jockeying or positioning or showing who's got the biggest, in between all of that is suffering is the American people.
Okay, but so let's be practical about it, right? All Mitch McConnell is speaking about now, or on this stimulus package, is the thing about lawsuits. That's all he wants struck out. They could have the whole kit and caboodle, but he wants that out, right? So let's be realistic, right? If you care about the American people, then you negotiate, right? That's the one. And that's just like
Well,
That's not
with
the
Mitch,
emotional side. One second, Vincent. That's not the emotional side. That's just the actual factual side, right? Because they reported out what the holdup now is, right? So that's just factual, right? When I say that Joe Biden, I'm not saying he did it. I'm not saying he doesn't care about people, right? But when you say that that's why he ran for president is because he cares about people, that's kind of juvenile to me, right? He's a politician, and a politician isn't an advocate, right? That's like a career, so when you run for president, you like LeBron James, you want to win the big one, right? There is a level of business in that. That's not all about helping the people, and we have to stop feeling like when you run for president, it's because you want to save the world, because we've had 26 of those jokers fail the world. So that doesn't change, but I get the emotional in it. Listen, Joe Biden right now is in his position now as president-elect, his faith in Nancy Pelosi, cut the bullshit and send the money. So why wouldn't he do that? Why is he sitting on he can't keep saying, getting on television talking about saving the people in 100 days of mask wearing, and we gotta get you fed, and we gotta come, because that's how he says it. He has this voice now. We gotta do this, and we gotta do that, right? Then go tell Nancy Pelosi to do it. He has that authority, so you have to wonder why. Well, juvenile is in the White House right now. Joe Biden is not a juvenile. Donald Trump is a juvenile and a child that he got beat bad, and the people sent the mandate to the country, and they voted for Mr. Biden to get elected. He's elected. He's an incoming president, and this juvenile that sits in the White House is acting like a child to know to be, and he knew that this coronavirus was happening, and he owe it to a false pretense. It's just nothing, and people are dropping dead constantly every single day.
and not to mention this juvenile lost the election, and still will not concede.
And he continues to send Giuliano to falsify these lawsuits, and Mr. Giuliano is a recipient of the coronavirus because he wasn't wearing a mask.
Not to mention over $40 million that he gets to pocket 75% of in donations.
I didn't say that Joe Biden was juvenile. I said the theory that Joe Biden is president of the United States because he wants to save the January 20th, he's president-elect. Wait a minute. Mr. Trump is still in the White House. And he's running the country like a reckless endangerment. Look it up. It's a criminal charge. Okay.
Well, what she's saying is that she thinks it's juvenile that of our belief that Joe Biden wants to help people.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying that he doesn't want to help people. I'm saying that when you say it like that's why someone becomes president is to help the people, I think that is a kind of juvenile theory on why people run for president, right?
Well,
you don't have to give me a speech on Trump, right? I've been railing against Trump on this show forever. He is the biggest juvenile, right? He is the biggest bad guy. I'm like Eric. Throw it all in his kitty. He's a horrible human being. He's a racist. He's misogynistic. He's an a-hole. He's
a germaphobe. He's a xenophobe.
He's all of that, right? He's all of that.
Narcissistic.
And I'll still say to you, right? Why is Joe Biden standing on the sidelines about some issues, like a stimulus check, but full force on other issues, right? Maybe because
Let her finish, Will.
The juvenile is not letting them and giving the keys
Will.
to the White House.
Will, let her finish.
That may be true.
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening. I don't want to talk. So I'm not good at just throwing my opinion, right? I like to research it, right? So when I said to do that, Donald Trump and Mnuchin went over and said, "Hey, give him the only thing he didn't give up. He didn't get a $600 on the unemployment. They said $300, but he said the $1,200 stimulus check. Yeah, guess what? And it makes sense, right? It makes sense that this dude that's leaving office and still wants to be ever present in the Republican Party wants to leave saying, and I gave because he's juvenile, right? And I had my $1,200 stimulus check. He wants that ingrained in the minds of his people, his constituents that get that $1,200 check. He wants to walk out with that, right? That makes political sense, just political sense from the juvenile. What I'm saying to you is, right? If you in this state, if Joe Biden cared about the people, right? He, as the president-elect, but the head right now of the Democratic Party, with his homeboy Obama on the right side, they can go to Nancy Pelosi and say, stop playing and send these people this money. So you have to wonder why they haven't pulled that lever, why they're not pushing for that. And I do believe, and it only makes sense, right, that you, and they're saying it out loud, Nancy Pelosi does not want a stimulus check with Donald Trump's name on it. And that makes her an ass. That makes her bad. That makes anyone that would stand beside that and let that happen, you have to want to quantify that they're good people. And that is Joe Biden. So when we rail against Trump, because I'm all down for a rail against the orange dude. Anytime, all day. But at the end of the day, if we're talking about what makes sense right now for the people, then we have to hold both of them accountable. We have to hold both of them. Listen, right now they could say, okay, listen, take out the little piece about the lawsuits against companies for Mitchie. When this would be strategic to me for the
Well, it's not. Let us get
that election going, right? Take it out.
Well, what they're trying to take out is the small business liability, and they've already made some adjustments because there are small businesses who've gotten just enough money to fail on this COVID virus benefit and the PPEs, and they're saying take out that level of liability and let's get another package going. But the Republicans are saying no, these people owe us money. Now, we're talking about the average small business that have gotten under, a majority of them have gotten under $175,000, where we're talking about these other corporations, like these transportation groups, who have gotten hundreds of millions. But yet they want to enforce the payback on the small businesses and do nothing on these large businesses that have gotten all these hundreds of millions of dollars and filing bankruptcy. That doesn't make any sense.
And you think that for that, right? And you think that fight is worth the mom who can't feed her child?
Exactly.
No, I don't think that is, Jody.
Exactly.
That's not what I'm saying. Jody, those words did not come out of my mouth. All I did was explain the big liability that they're fighting for. No, I don't think that it's worth that. Okay? No, I don't. And I think that, something like that can be put in and then rectified once Biden gets in office. I agree with that too. Okay? But right now...
All they have to do, they could put it in and pull it out.
That's what I just said.
And so why won't you? Because... So this is my theory. I don't think the Republicans are holding up the stimulus package. Democrats are, sneakily, insidiously, behind the door, arguing with us. Listen, I don't care about Trump anymore, although I'm going to miss his banter, man. Listen, I got a lot of jokes off of Trump, and I got a lot of humor off of Trump when I needed a joke in the lab. There was the orange dude talking crazy on TV.
Not to mention that fly on Pence's head.
I'm going to miss that, right? But at the end of the day, right, you can't beat me over my head no more about what Trump doing. Because no matter how many lawsuits he files and all the banter that he's doing just to keep his people up on it, right? I know the Constitution, and I know that at 12 o'clock p.m. on that day he's gonna be inaugurated, whether Trump or 10, they're gonna throw him out of the army. So we still talking about Trump, right? Because it is making people a little numb to the fact that the Democratic Party
Exactly.
is holding up that
That's absolutely right.
package.
That's absolutely right.
Bottom line, not
It's not that they're holding up the stimulus package. It's just a simple fact that, they pushed through to get the first package, which the Republicans had to have all this money go to corporations. It went to big corporations, trillions of dollars.
No, let's talk
And the
now.
little
See,
guy-
stop
okay,
going.
let me finish. And the
Stop
little guy got
rewinding.
$1,200. This one was what they said was that, okay, we're going to do the second package, and it's going to be for everybody else, and we just want to get to stabilize the corporation. Now they're trying to get it for everybody else, and there's all these obstacles involved with getting the money that they need. It's about okay, do what you said you're going to do.
It's not substance anymore. Listen, right? That's why I say it's important to just give it factually, right? It was obstacles a few months ago before the election, right? Mitch wouldn't even sit down and talk to Nancy. Now,
Ain't that the truth?
Talk to Nancy, right? Then he said, hey, listen, I even okay your package. I want this one little thing taken out, and Trump even going to give your people them $1,200 you want to. So what's the hold up?
Yes, but here was the holdup. Here was the holdup. When Nancy Pelosi said to Mitch, "Okay, let's do it. Put it on paper," Mitch withdrew.
Hey, Vincent, you missed it, right? He withdrew. Listen. You know what I'm gonna give Mitch McConnell some credit for?
He's about a slippery mofo.
No, ready?
He's about a slippery. Mark my words.
Let her finish.
We
Let
should
Vincent.
never have a lame duck president put a Supreme Court justice on the bench.
Vincent.
You can tell everybody Elizabeth Graham said it.
Vincent. Let her say what she's gonna say. Go ahead.
Okay, good.
So, Mitch McConnell went from not having any conversations to let's sit at the table. He's made it clear. He made it clear you can have everything. You want all of that? Take the whole kit and caboodle. All I want is that liability out, right? Which we know. If you and I are sitting on this telephone right now, and we know that they could put it in and pull it back out.
Well, that's the equivalent of that.
There is a reason. There is a reason they're holding that package. Not the Republicans, but the Democrats, because which is so insidiously cool that this is all about. Listen, he lost the election. He's gone. He's made a fool of himself to the entire country. His name on a check ain't gonna change that to this country. But for some reason, Democrats, not even Democrats, right? The top crust of the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, who is about 80 years old and should retire because some of her behaviors are baseball before and honorary and does not serve the people, but serves her needs and want to still maintain her power. That is the truth. What you see on media today, like Donald Trump and the Republicans are holding up the stimulus package, is a lie. That's just a lie. Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic Party is holding up the stimulus package based on a name on a damn check. And if we don't admit that and understand that is indicative of the party that doesn't care about the people.
Jody, I don't think that you're going to convince. I don't think you're going to convince.
The hold up on the stimulus check by Nancy Pelosi or the Democratic Party is not based upon Donald Trump's signature on the check, because there are people right now. No, let me finish. There are people right now who are hurting, who could care whose name on the check, just as long as it's clear.
Yeah, I totally agree, Vincent.
But absolutely, it's all about the simple fact that they got details in here that they keep telling the Republican Party, okay, if you're agreeing to it, let's put it to paper, and they're going, no. That's the same thing they did with the first stimulus check.
So now
they said, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. They didn't put it to paper, and we got screwed.
So watch this. Hey, Jody.
Like saying abundance. Listen, ready? When you say it's not a whole bunch of details anymore, it was a whole bunch of details a few weeks ago, right? There is no more whole bunch of details. Mitch McConnell has made it clear that he ain't putting nothing on paper until they take that one thing out.
Right. Now, you know what's going to happen, Jody? Watch this.
Well, this is what's going to happen. And I agree with you, Jody. This stimulus package is not going to come until after Biden is in office. But when Biden is in office, wait a minute. When Biden is in office, right, Mitch McConnell is still going to have the same requirement, but you won't have Donald Trump's signature on the check, and they're going to pass the stimulus package because it will be now under Biden's presidency, and they don't want, and they're not going to want to have it his first one. They're going to, so because this is politics, and this is, and Will, you're a district leader, right? And Vincent, you've been around politics long enough. So what, right? So what they're going to want to do is establish what Biden has accomplished in his first 100 days.
Well, you know what, Eric?
Wait, let me finish. Will, let me finish. Will, you gotta show some distance. Let me finish, please.
Okay.
They're gonna want to show what Biden has accomplished in his first 100 days. So they're already putting together a punch list of things that they're gonna want him to accomplish, and one of them is gonna be the stimulus package. See, they don't want that under Trump. They want that under Biden. So after the inauguration, they're going to make the deal. And that's what Jody's saying. And what they will have sacrificed to get that as part of his 100-day accomplishments are all of these hundreds of thousands of Americans.
You damn right. You damn right. And guess what? That has to make people, right, just say, what is that party about? And it's not, right, because we're here arguing about it now. But not that I wouldn't vote again today, knowing what I know against Donald Trump, right? But we have to, at the very least, be willing to say, what does that make that party? What does that make that group of people that would actually sacrifice lives, well-being, homes, food on people's table for a fucking 100-day report? That's insanity. And that is not leadership. And that is not people for the people. That's just politics. And that's insane. Already, we put him in office. Already, he turned his back on the people. Period. In the story. That's crazy. Listen, and I'm saying that, and I want him to hold his damn back until after he gets inaugurated, right? Because I'm going to spend a little bit of money right now, and I'm going to need that to pay a couple of credit cards. Not bad. But I still have to think about the person that doesn't have a damn credit card.
Right.
That can't spend money like I can do. There is something so wrong with that.
There is. I have to agree. There is a lot of there is something fundamentally wrong, and I said this when they started talking about the first stimulus package. There is something fundamentally wrong when you're giving billions, hundreds of millions to billionaires, yet you're giving $1,200 to people who need it the most.
Absolutely.
It's those backroom deals, like I was saying, Eric. It's those political backroom deals that politicians make.
Mm-hmm. Well, that backroom deal did very little to help the people who are truly suffering. And right now, I was just looking at the Congress is now in a lock because everything is going on. People are being foreclosed upon. People are being evicted. People are starving. People are hurting. People are sick and need to go to the hospital, yet they can't go to the hospital because of all the COVID.
Yeah, so I just got an alert on my phone that Pennsylvania the governor is shutting down indoor dining, indoor sports immediately in casinos. So we can't go to Pennsylvania to go to the casino because he's shutting it down.
Yes,
Because
he did. He also has COVID.
Yeah, and what did I saw on the news last night? Was it Baltimore? Where the mayor shut down all the restaurants, and you had restaurateurs saying this is the end of the line for us. You know, they're gonna go out of business.
Do you guys really think that shutting down establishments, local businesses, do they really help the economy at this time?
Well, let's look at it. If people are contracting COVID and dying, eventually you'll have no one in the economy. You'll have no essential workers. You'll have no blacks who are getting the bulk of this, being the commodities to the rich and famous, or rich and wealthy. So,
Right. So let us stop, because I don't do that. Right. When you look at the percentages of people who are dying from the people who are contracting it, right, doesn't paint that picture. I really believe that the issue is not so much about the people who are dying from COVID, but more about the people who are contracting it and who are not going to bottleneck the hospitals, right? And all of the other people who need to use those services at the hospitals because of all of the other illnesses and things that are out there. So they're trying to control that. They're trying to control that. It's not about I gave you the report of the people who die from all these other things that are going on, but the way that they die from these other diseases that are out there, it's kind of spread across a period of time, so it doesn't it doesn't overwhelm our systems. This has the potential to overwhelm the system, and that's what they're trying to protect right now. Right?
Okay, yeah, you're right. Associated Press released this morning, yesterday, the Baltimore mayor shut down indoor and outdoor dining this week to fight the spread of COVID.
Yeah.
As part of the,
So it is so that's what it's about. But in the meantime, I'm telling you, you've got, which is really interesting, right? I was in Staples yesterday, and I literally had to move out. I was over in the printing area where where the printers are and everything. I had to move out of that area because there was no social distancing, and I mean there must have been like 25 people, no joke, in that little area. And so the manager of that store came over and literally started yelling at people, moving them back, telling them that they gotta. And he said to me, he said, man, if they would have come in, if somebody would have come in and looked, they would have shut us down.
Yeah.
So you're targeting restaurants. What about all these other places? Costco, ShopRite, Staples.
I was in ShopRite, and they held people up from getting in, because the manager said that no, we are almost at our capacity.
No, and I agree with that. But what I'm saying to you is this: like I said in Newark, you have some restaurants, like my guy at Cuban Pete's, who was in violation of all of what should have been done, and shut him down. But other restaurants who are complying, why shut them down? That's what I'm saying. Why shut them down? So, to your point, that ShopRite, where they said, hey, listen, right now we're at capacity. In order to maintain social distancing, we can't let anybody else in. If you got a restaurant who's doing that, kudos to that restaurant. They're not contributing to the spread of COVID. They're being responsible. Why have a blanket, action that is shutting them all down? And that's what some of these restaurateurs were saying. Hey, listen, I'm complying. I got outdoor seating. I'm only servicing 25% of my clientele. And most of my business now I'm trying to do through through takeout. I'm doing everything you're telling me to do, and you're shutting me down anyway. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, the same thing with California. California has the strictest restaurant rules, yet they still had to shut them down.
Why? But wait a minute. Go ahead.
Because of. Go ahead.
But here's what I'm asking: has the data through their contact tracing showed that the spread is coming from the restaurants and not the ShopRites and the Costco's and the BJ's? Have they been able to figure that out? And if not, then why are you targeting the restaurants?
Well, here is what the same thing that happened with New York. In their data and contract tracing and testing, they find that a large population, people tend to catch it more at restaurants because there is that period where they are together and they take off their mask. And even in a situation where people are outside doing takeout, people, like you said, in Staples, people tend to herd and don't care about social distancing. There are some people standing in line waiting for their takeout,
So
and they're
wait.
not wearing masks.
So wait a second. I want to. Wait a minute.
Their carelessness is getting
Wait a minute.
everybody shut down.
Wait a minute. Wait. I want to stop for a second, because that doesn't make any sense. So if I go to dinner, wait a minute. If I go to dinner with two other people and we're at a table, right? We take our masks off to eat,
Right.
right? What's the difference in me taking the mask off to eat there and and not having a mask on and eating at my home? If I'm gonna go eat with that person, wait a minute. If I'm gonna go eat with that person, if I have decided that I am going to dine with Vincent Squire, and that restaurant is closed, I'm gonna go someplace else and dine with Vincent Squire, right? And so to now say that restaurant is responsible for the fact that Vincent Squire has contracted COVID from Eric. Well, if that restaurant wasn't open, I'm not going to say, oh, you know what, Vincent, that restaurant's not open. We're not going to eat. I'm not going to meet with you. I'm not going to have my...
Well,
that makes no sense. So what I'm getting at is this, that people's habits are going to happen. I don't believe that you having COVID, or me having COVID, if you and I were at a table together, the question now becomes, because if we're practicing social distancing, right? You and I are at a table together. The other people in the restaurant are like they separate 5 or 6 tables, right? They close down these tables, and the next table is all the way over there. I think I told the story about a few months ago when I had gone to IHOP, and they had asked me if I wanted to eat in or out, and my cousin and I said, let's see what it's like inside. We had a mask on. We went inside, and there were only 2 other people in the entire restaurant, right? So you had somebody, like literally, I couldn't spit a spitball and hit them. They were so far away, right? And then the other people on the other side of the restaurant. So now if that is what it looks like inside of IHOP, I don't think that you're spreading COVID at IHOP. And so, but now when you shut IHOP down because the numbers are going up, but then you're not shutting down Costco, you're not shutting down BJ's. I'm saying, what are you doing?
Well, one is that, Eric, you are the master of the kitchen sinking. So we get to so many points and by the time you get finished talking, it's hard to know where to start.
Oh, well, I'll let you start wherever you want to.
Go into this. In terms of shutting down restaurants, if you sit at a restaurant and just because it is empty at IHOP doesn't mean that it's going to be empty at Cuban Pete's. Yet, even though you are sitting at, and in fact, I went to a restaurant when I went to lunch with Dr. Wright, and we sat there, mask on, until our food got there, yet I realized something. And we were in a situation where we were in front of the windows, and they had them open, and heaters out there. But yet, when the wind blows and people weren't talking, in the event that me or Dr. Wright or our server who had COVID, even with the window open, it still spreads an average of 8 feet because it's a microvirus. So, or micro mist. So even though we are doing the precautions that are necessary, we still could be in a super spreader. And you could be a super spreader not only at that restaurant, but you could be a super spreader at your own home. One of the things that we're dealing with now is the results of everybody having super spreader events called Thanksgiving dinner. So why are they shutting down restaurants? Because it's huge, it's transient, people want to get out, they go to this restaurant, they let their guard down, and it becomes a spreader event. That's what the data has showed them. And they're tracing, it says, all roads lead to these restaurants. And it's a shame that it does, because those businesses are only working with a 3 to 7% margin. But yet, why not Costco or anything like that? Yeah. Well, one, you're looking at over 20-foot ceilings, you're looking at a lot of ventilation, and you're looking at them limiting the number per square foot. That's why.
Yeah. I think that they're reactionary. I think that they're doing a lot of damage to the economy. I think that they are destroying families by not being more surgical in their approach. I mean, hell, I see people go to the gas station, Vincent, and when they roll the window down, they pull their mask down and say, "Give me 20, fill it up, or fill it up." Right? And so shut down the gas stations. I mean, what do we?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the whole thing about this virus. When you let your guard down, it could be that one time that you catch it.
Yeah, but I'm saying then shut down all the gas stations. Shut everything. No,
Or
but
make
you're
the gas
targeting.
stations in New Jersey self-serve.
Huh?
Or make the gas stations in New Jersey
Or,
self-serve.
or make them self-serve, right? But I think the low-hanging fruit is the restaurants. I think that's the low-hanging fruit. So everybody does that. All the politicians do that, and it makes it look like they're doing something. But in the end, they're destroying an economy, a local economy.
They are. And it leads us back to the biggest crime or the biggest devastation to our economy right now is that, I always talk about government is the group who's supposed to be able to do what the common man can't do. And we're talking about a lot of small businesses who need that help. Yet everybody's looking for our governmental leaders to help them.
So let me ask you guys a question. In reference to small businesses, these municipalities or these governors have put out grants. Okay, if you're applying for this grant, okay, you have to. Does the small business owner have to pay it back?
Grants you don't have to pay back.
The coronavirus.
Yeah,
Grants you don't have to pay back.
Loans you pay back. Grants you don't.
But I'm saying is though, has the government of New Jersey put out a status report of small businesses being affected by the coronavirus? And like you said, Eric, how do we know that you can contract the virus inside a local eatery or restaurant? Have New Jersey Restaurant Association put that out?
I haven't seen.
New York has been doing
Listen.
the most, and California have been doing the most in terms of scrutinizing the data and looking at it. That's the reason they've been shutting down their restaurants and finding it to be that one big hot spot or hot source. And here's the thing about distance tracing: it's not the fact of the location; it's the fact of the person who's infected and where he went.
Like Governor Murphy was talking about his daily briefings. I get an opportunity to try to watch him. He's talking about contact tracing, that no one wants to pick up the telephone, to identify these people that were affected in any type of eatery or restaurant. I mean, how effective that is also, but the contact tracing.
Right. So what's happening, Will?
If you go to a restaurant and you have a party of 3 or 4 sitting at the table and you're 6 feet distance, okay, does the restaurant take your address, your name, your phone number in case they contracted that virus in that particular restaurant? Yeah.
Yes, they are. But now it's getting to the point where some states are issuing out fines and penalties if people, 1, do not give their contact tracing, or 2, their contacts that they are tracing do not answer or respond.
Call or go.
Hey, let me just add to what Vincent is saying. Vincent is absolutely right for a change.
Uh-oh.
You brilliantly explained the difference between the restaurant and the chain stores. The chain stores, ventilation is key in all of this. Right. Ventilation in the store, everybody's passing and most of the time have masks on, and you said microvirus is actually a aerosol. What comes out of our mouths is an aerosol. If it's cold outside, you'll see the mist. But on most occasions, if it's warm, you won't see it. So, Vincent, you're absolutely right. When you're in close quarters in a restaurant, it don't matter if we're 6 feet or 8 feet, it's the ventilation taking the particular particles, which is the correct term, particulate particles. They're very minute. You will never see them with your visible eye. And it gets in with the flow of the air and the ventilation, takes it completely across the room. So if somebody's shedding the virus at that particular time, and you don't have a mask on, or even your eyes are exposed, if it gets into your respiratory system and you're susceptible and you taking a heavy load of it, that's when it jams you up. So Vincent, you absolutely brilliantly explained that. Let me get back out here in the road. I just wanted to add to your argument. And you can't, everybody needs to stay out of population. So everybody is, to your point, Eric, yeah, we should really just, for a day, a week, or whatever, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, stay out of population and see if the numbers are going to be affected with the spread of the virus. Because we're not going to stop the spread, and we're coming in contact with people who are shedding the virus. And we're going to be host to the virus, and without, not wearing a mask and contracting it, you are now the host. You're taking it somewhere else to shed it and create the form that it needs to exist. We're not getting rid of the need for the virus to exist. If they don't have nobody to pass on to, it will dissipate. But the aerosols that come out of our mouths are particular particles, unless somebody pop their P's and T's, and then you get the spit and all of that. But it's the particular particle that gets in the ventilation airflow and jams up a whole room of people. They showed that in the very beginning of the virus. All right, so y'all have a good day.
Thanks a lot.
So I just wanted to make mention, Essex County, you guys were talking about Essex County earlier, coronavirus. They are already setting up a vaccine center at the old Kmart in West Orange. I guess Stephen Chenzo is getting prepared to handle the onslaught of vaccines, but they're opening up a vaccine operation up at the old Kmart in West Orange. I just wanted to let your listeners know that, where they're going to be opening up a vaccine center up in the old Kmart in West Orange at shopping center.
Okay. So what do you think? I was listening to a report, and somebody was asking on a news show whether or not people who get vaccinated are going to have a card, like an ID card almost, to show that they have been vaccinated, that would then, I guess, give them entrance into places that require you to have been vaccinated before entry. What are your thoughts about that?
I mean, my thoughts is, that's very good of doing that, but there's there is some skepticism in reference to, a friend of mine I was talking to, he was telling me the side effects of this vaccine, which is going to be tremendous on, like when I was bringing up yesterday about the kids being mandated to have vaccinated, and I think it's a good idea. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing it, you know what I mean? Just to protect myself or my family, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or friends in the family. And we can try it out. I mean, the public should have a say-so in this issue, for vaccination of children, mandates and all that. It's all good to keep everybody safe. Like Mike was saying about the particles coming out of your mouth, you like to protect yourself and wear your mask all the time. But the card thing would be good. I mean, we can try it out here in New Jersey. How effective it would be, I don't know. But it would show that I've taken the vaccine, and they keep account of what is going on with that particular person reference to the ID card.
Right.
I would go for that.
Okay. And then they're also saying in the news that you have to get 2 shots, right? Not just one. and that there is an attrition rate that they're concerned about with regard to people coming back for the second shot. So, and that the first shot, and so what will happen is people will be lulled into a false sense of security having received the first shot, right? And may then let their guard down, and as a result, we may see a surge in coronavirus spread.
Well, with everything and everybody, there's a level of carelessness that you have to give into an account. Yes, there are going to be some people who just get that first shot and run away, but they are susceptible to actually contracting the virus and spreading the virus. Yet you're supposed to get that within, I think, a 21-day period.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're giving out a card and someone has the card that says that they got the shot, and you look at the card that says that that was 21 days ago, you might want to smack them in the head. I mean, express to them that they need to, update their shots.
Yeah. So
Because I mean, you look at that's probably going to be, if you want to go anywhere without a mask, you have your card.
mm-hmm. Call it go.
Good morning, gentlemen. Just a quick question. A two-part. One is, Vincent, with the vaccine, how do you think different industries will handle that from the labor perspective in terms of employees that don't have symptoms, but industry makes it mandatory? How will that affect, like, I guess, labor law? And then the other part of the question is, although it's for the greater good of the medical security of us all, I see that that's kind of the driving force behind the mandate. Where do you see that, like, being like a balance between some choice in there? Just that, and I do think that there have been good vaccines in the past. I just at such a unique time in history, I'm just curious to get you and Eric's insight on that from your industry experience. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Have
you.
a good weekend.
You too now.
Thank you, caller. Well, first and foremost, people of color, black and Hispanic, have always experienced some negativities in terms of vaccinations and trusting our medical professions. We've gotten to the point now where they just did a poll, and only 54% of black and Hispanics said that they would take the vaccine only if Fauci said it was safe. They don't care about anybody else, but as long as Fauci said it's safe, they may consider. But in terms of labor and laws, it may get to a point or mandated that corporations will have it as a requirement to get your money. So the quid pro quo. In fact, there was a politician saying that we should offer $1,200 for everybody who gets a vaccine. Quid pro quo.
Wow. I guess everybody, there'll be a long line if they gave me $1,200, because I would be the first one in the middle of the first line.
That's right. Merry Christmas to Will.
I mean, that they can throw out. I mean, $1,200. But the overall, gentlemen, you and Eric, I mean, listen. To be honest with you, and never mind the funniest with the $1,200. There are people's lives that are affected by this. You know what I mean? Kids, parents. You know what I mean? The mandate of the schools in New Jersey, as far as putting a mandate on them, vaccination. Yes, the card would help. I mean, but how effective the shot would be within the 21-day period. The after effects of it. You know what I mean? The asymptomatic person, how would they feel about it? And the older senior citizen, are they required to take, you know what I mean? Does it depend on the person's doctor? Does it depend on the medical conditions that they have? Talking about asymptomatic, anybody can be asymptomatic at any given time and test the virus. A lot of people have done that.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of things that have to be considered, especially if you're talking about some sort of an ID card. Imagine if you had somebody who had warrants, right? And so now, because the card, it's just not a card, right? It's got to be an ID card that connects that individual with having taken the virus. Otherwise, I could just give Vincent my card to go into a store that he wants to go into, right? So you have to have an ID card that recognizes you, which now means you have to be in some sort of a database of some kind. And so if that is the case, wouldn't that be a deterrent to people who are in the shadows?
It would. It would.
Yeah. You see, so I'm trying to figure out how, because I did hear it on some. I was groggy last night. I had taken 2 Tylenol PMs, but in the news was in the background, so I may be mixing up some of the stuff. But I'm pretty sure I heard them talking about, or at least floating around the idea of having some sort of an ID card. I don't think that would work. I do, however, think that the incentive, a financial incentive, might be something, right? So whatever the overall amount would be, you give them half for the first shot, and then you give them the balance when they come back for the second shot.
Second shot, yeah. No, you give them 20% for the first shot and 80% to make sure they come back for the second.
Oh, you know what? You're right. You're right. Because it doesn't work right when you give a contractor half the money, they don't come back.
Now, what about Eric and Vincent? What about people that don't have insurance and they have to take this vaccination shot? How are they going to do that?
Oh, you mean in terms of if they have side effects?
Oh no, I'm talking about insurance, like medical insurance.
Oh no. Well, right now you can go.
To take it or they want to.
No. But what?
Who's going to foot the bill for that?
No. So right now you could go to like CVS and get a flu shot. They don't charge you.
Oh, okay.
Right. But the question is, and it's a valid one. What if somebody didn't have insurance? You took the COVID vaccine and then you had side effects. Right? So now you got to go to the doctor. How does that get resolved?
I mean, the bottom line is this. I mean,
we got 2 minutes left in today's show, but I don't want that to get lost with people, right? We got to figure that piece out, right? So you got a person right now who says, you know what? I'm going to go and get vaccinated.
Okay.
And they go get vaccinated. They don't have any insurance, right? But the vaccine is free. So you go get vaccinated, and then you have horrible side effects, which now require you to go to the hospital or go to the doctor. But you have no insurance. Jay?
Oh, yes. That would be awful, but, the policy is this. Everybody, that wants to take this should take it. But, like again, Eric, like I said, the after effects of the shot.
So we got to think about that.
Well, also it would be covered under a few other things, which would be funded by the government or the state. So, and this is pretty much a very expensive shot because it has to be in sub-freezing temperatures.
The Pfizer one does.
Yes.
Right, but you have other pharmaceutical companies who will be releasing theirs, and they may not have that same hurdle. But listen, guys.
They also don't have the 90% success.
That's correct too. So listen, guys, we're at almost at the 12 o'clock hour. Thank you guys for tuning in. It was a nice conversation.
Thank you for having me on the show, Eric.
Hey, thank you, man.
Big Will, take care of yourself, bro.
Big Will,
Can I close it out?
Okay.
I want to close the show out today.
Close the show.
I just encourage everyone to, like always Vincent saying, Vincent Squire and the queen of radio, Diane Fleury, Diane. We want to encourage you to wash your hands, wear your mask, be social distance, and stay safe. That's the word for today.
That's it.
God's will. We'll be back Monday.
Thanks, Will.
Okay, fellas.